This video will show you how to do long division with polynomials. So the first thing I want to show you is the steps for the long division. So let's go over those first. Alright, so the first step is to arrange the terms in the dividend, which is the numerator, and the divisor, the denominator, in descending order of their powers. And usually they're already set up like that. But if not, do that. And I'm going to write them in a long division form. So I have x plus 4 is the divisor. So that goes there. And you're going to divide that into the numerator. But here's the trick. I have 3x cubed. And notice how I have no x squared. You need to write that. You have to write 0x squared. Think of it as a placeholder for the x squared term. Then we go plus 2x minus 5. And I've got the decreasing powered order. If they are not in decreasing order, go and put them into decreasing order. Alright, the second step is to divide the first term in the dividend, so this x, by the first term in the divisor, this 3x cubed. The result of that will be the first term in what's called the quotient. The quotient is the answer of the division problem. So how many times does x go into 3x squared, or cubed? Let me give you the answer there. It will be 3x squared. And that is all you need to do for the second step. So the third step, after you do the division, is you multiply. And what you're going to do is you are going to multiply every term by this first term in the quotient that you found. The quotient by every term in the first divisor. So I'd go 3x squared times x, and I'm going to write that under its corresponding power. So that'd be 3x cubed. And then 3x squared times 4 is 12x squared. So I need to write that under the 12x squared, or the x squared on the divisor, or dividend. It is important that you, or you can see why it is important to have that placeholder of that power, because you may end up with that power as well. And you need to make sure there you subtract, or lined up them. Well, like I said, you want to subtract these, so the fourth step is to subtract the product of the dividend. So I'm going to take each of these dividend terms and change their sign. So I'm going to subtract that 3x squared, and since that's a plus, I'm going to subtract that 12. And then I just perform that operation. 3x cubed minus 3x cubed should be 0. That's why we're doing this process. And then 0 minus 12 is negative 12x squared. So the next thing that we're going to do after we subtract is we want to bring down the remaining terms. So I'm going to bring these ones down, keeping their signs the same. So I have 2x minus 5. And then from there, I will repeat the process. I will see how many times this x goes into negative 12x squared. So x into negative 12x squared would be minus 12x. Alright, then after I do that, I multiply again. So I'd go negative 12x times each one of these terms. Negative 12x times x is negative 12x squared. Negative 12x times 4 is negative 48x. Okay, so that is we did the divide to get this. Then we did the multiply step here. And then now we need to subtract these. So I want to subtract negative 12x. So I'm going to If I subtract a negative 12x, it's like I add it. If I subtract a negative 48, it's like I add that. I always just change the sign of whatever you have. So negative 12x squared plus 12x squared is 0. 2x plus 48x is 50x. And that's the subtract part. The last thing is to bring down that 5. And bring that down. I'm running out of room, but that's okay. And then repeat the process again until you cannot repeat the process anymore. So how many times does x go into 50x? Well, if I divide that, it is plus 50. And then after I do that, let's multiply. So 50 times x is 50x. And 50 times 4 is 200. We want to make sure that we subtract those, so I'm going to go minus and a minus. 50x minus 50x is 0. And negative 5 minus 200 is minus 205. Okay. I cannot take this x into 205, so we are done with the division process. The last step here is to actually write out your answer, so let me show you how to do that. So the last step really is to write out the quotient that you found, so that would be this right here. So let's list that. We've got 3x squared minus 12x plus 50. And then we write whatever the remainder is. In this case, it's a negative, so we're going to go minus 205 divided by whatever the divisor was. Remember, this is the divisor. So we have x plus 4. And this whole thing with what's called the quotient and the remainder is the entire answer of a long division of polynomials. So let's look at a couple examples. Alright, so let's try this division problem. We're going to divide 4 minus 5x minus x squared plus 6x cubed by 3x minus 2. So let's set the problem up first. I have my divisor, 3x minus 2, and that is going to go into my dividend, but we need to make sure we write them in decreasing power. So my highest power is 6x cubed, and then I have minus an x squared, minus a 5x, and then plus a 4. Alright, there we have that. Now let's start the process of actually dividing. I always like to think of it as divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. So this is kind of the little shorthand of what you're doing. Let's go first 3x into 6x cubed. That reduces to 2x squared. So let's go ahead, after we divide, then we are going to multiply. 2x squared times 3x is 6x cubed. Okay. If you have done the process right, these should be the same. And then 2x squared times negative 2 times 2x squared is negative 4x squared. Then we are going to subtract these. So let's go through and change each one's sign and perform the operation. We have 6x cubed minus 6x cubed should be 0. Negative x plus 4x squared is plus 3x squared. And then let's bring down each of the pieces. So I have negative 5x plus 4. Alright, 3x into 3x squared would be plus just 1x. After we get that x, let's multiply again. X times 3x is 3x squared. And x times negative 2 is negative 2x. We're going to go through, change each one's sign, and perform the operation. When you change the sign, that's really subtraction. So we get 3x squared minus 3x squared should be 0. Negative 5x plus 2x is negative 3x. And let's bring down that 4. How many times now does 3x go into negative 3x? That should be negative 1. And then let's multiply. Negative 1 times 3x is negative 3x. Negative 1 times negative 2 is plus 2, so I'm just going to write 2. And let's go through and change each one's sign again. So if I have a negative 3x and I subtract that, it's a plus 3x. And a positive 2 becomes a negative 2. Let's subtract those. We get 0 and 2. Can 3x go into 2? The answer is no, because there's no x to divide into, so that 2 would be our remainder. We're actually done with the division now. The only thing we need to do is write our answer out. So our final answer will be this part right here, the 2x squared plus x minus 1. And then I have a remainder of 2, so I'm going to go plus 2 over whatever you divided, whatever the divisor was. And there is the final answer.